please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
That we have been tracking for over a year now, quite some time now. In fact, the National Company Law Tribunal will pronounce its verdict. Actually, the NCLT has pronounced its decision already. The decision is to put this on hold, and they have reserved the judgment. They will be pronouncing it on Monday at 10:30 a.m. So we were expecting the final announcement today. They have been listening to the arguments of Cyrus-Mistry for almost 4 months now, and the decision was likely today, but they have reserved its order to be pronounced on Monday at 10:30. That's the 9th of July. Shireen is here. Shireen, we are waiting for Yash to tell us about what exactly happened in court and why they're pushing it further. But of course, this is going to be significant. This will change the game, yes. But what are you expecting in terms of the order? We are expecting kind of a 50-50 announcement over there?
Well, I don't want to preempt what the NCLT may or may not do in this matter, but what is very clear is that this has been a bit of an anti-climax. The expectation was building because the order was expected at 4 p.m. today, but it has now been pushed to 10:30 a.m. on Monday. Let's just recap for the benefit of our viewers the arguments that have been made in this matter in the Tata versus Mistry battle in the NCLT, led by the Mistry camp, the counsel R.S. Sundaram, basically arguing, and let me highlight the key points that they've been making their arguments basis on. They claim that the Tata Sons Article of Association are oppressive, that the Article of Association goes against the very basis of the Companies Act of 2013. So this is the biggest point that the Mistry camp has tried to highlight as far as the NCLT is concerned. They also then go on to argue that the Article of Association is being used to let the majority shareholders run the company. The Articles of Association have been used to clip the wings of independent directors. This is the claim and the charge that they also made. The Mistry counsel, R.S. Sundaram, to the NCLT has basically said that the question is not what do the Articles of Association say, but how the Articles of Association are in fact used. They've also gone on to say that the board as a whole should run the company. It should be a board-managed company under the Companies Act, and independent directors are not rubber stamps, which they claim was the case as far as the Tata Sons board was concerned, which was pretty much being micromanaged by the Tata Sons trustees, is what they allege. Some of the allegations made against the Tata Trust: the nominees directors used the Articles of Association to mismanage the company. Nominee directors used the Article of Association to prevent matters to be brought before the board for discussion. The needs of the minority shareholders could not be addressed without the blessings of the trust nominees. Essentially, one of the key points that we should watch out for as well is what the NCLT will say on a specific issue, which is the Article 75 or the Articles of Association, which basically the Mistry camp alleges the majority shareholder decides when the minority investor has to sell its shares, and they claim that the restriction on transfer of shares ex faci is illegal and no public company should have such a provision in its Article of Association. So it will be interesting to see what the NCLT has to say on each of these issues that have been argued by the Cyrus-Mistry camp in court. But for today, the wait continues, and we'll have to pick up on this on Monday at 10:30 in the morning.
Yes, Shireen, Monday will be the final day. But just to give a quick timeline before we connect to Yash, it was in October 2016 that Cyrus-Mistry was removed as the chairman of Tata Sons. In December 2016, Mistry then moved the NCLT, alleging Tata Sons oppression and mismanagement. As Shireen was pointing out, there were a couple of arguments that had been made. In March 2017, then, NCLT dismissed Cyrus-Mistry's petition, citing a maintainability clause. However, this case was further taken up in April 2017. Mistry moved NCLT, challenging NCLT's dismissal of petition. In September 2017, NCLT granted waiver to Mistry from maintainability clause and then allowed Cyrus-Mistry to move NCLT against Tata Sons. In November 2017 is when the NCLT actually started hearing that petition. So it's been almost 4 months of hearing Cyrus-Mistry's petition, and now we are expecting a final judgment to be pronounced on Monday. We will get Yash back to give us some details of what exactly transpired and why they're reserving the judgment. judgment. But for now, the other big story that we are tracking this evening, the central government has increased the minimum support price for kharif crops, the crops which are cultivated during the rainy season between the months of June to October. Remember, BJP had promised in 2014 to give farmers a price of 1.5 times of input cost, and the announcement to give effect to the promise was made in this year's annual budget. Now the government has announced its decision to hike MSP. However, it has not taken a decision on the procurement mechanism yet. Let's understand what this means. Manisha Gupta is here with more details on the MSP hike. Manisha, take us through the fine print of this.
Well, it clearly has been a historical day because the MSP hike has been much on the higher side in what we've seen in the last couple of years. But the important thing also is that even as we've seen MSP hikes in the last couple of years, the market prices actually have continued to trade way below the MSP. So even as this is good because we have seen the MSP hike much higher as compared to last year, and because the government this time around has brought in another calculation, which is the CSCP derived input cost and the MSP hike over and above that. So to ensure that the government puts out the right percentage of 1.5 times more than cost of production. So that really is the paddy and the maize where we have seen nearly 200 to almost 300 rupees of a jump up when you look at the latest MSP prices coming in. It has been a similar scenario for the other kharif crops as well. Those are the pulses really where we have seen moong as a major concern area, and we have seen quite a bit of a jump up coming in there. Almost 7,000 rupees per quintal is what the moong MSP has been put out right now. You know, as you rightly pointed out, the major concern really from here on will be the implementation part of it, because there are 3 methodologies that are being discussed on whether it is going to be the price support system or market insurance system or the price deficiency procurement system. At this point in time, the government procures very few of these commodities, and definitely not all of those commodities that we have on screen right now. But it's not government's job to procure all of these commodities also. So you will really have to see on what commodities, how much procurement, at what price, what are the different states doing in sense of all these commodities. That is what will really drive your market price, your fiscal calculations, etc. And that is still a couple of months away because the harvest is a couple of months away, and the government is going to make exactly use of that time to tell us on how and what methodology are they going to put forth. But those, of course, are cotton numbers. The major jump really has been seen in case of ragi and in case of cotton, where the jump up has been much on the higher side. The comparison, of course, is to the last year. But when you look at the input cost, the jump really seems much higher in that sense. So there are 2 ways of looking at these numbers, as I said. One, of course, is the last year's MSP price. One is the prevailing market price, and then the surge, and then, of course, the input cost, and then the kind of surge. So it is going to be some days before we actually sit down and do that maths and, of course, understand the implementation part of it.
All right, Manisha, thanks for joining in with that. Now let's hear what top ministers say about the decrease in MSP for kharif crops.
The mechanism is that where governments are purchased, like state of Punjab, we purchase the wheat rice as well as cotton is also purchased. Now, immediately for the farmers of be it Haryana or Punjab, which is the food bowl of the country, we look after the national security for food of this entire nation. This farmer is under distress. What happens to food security? Now, this distressed farmer is straight away going to get at least 8 to 10,000 rupees per acre more. So with the boost to this rural economy, which will come when he's got more money to spend, is going to actually transform the entire rural and the landscape of the entire country. So to ensure that the farmers get the right prices, the states which are procuring will have to give the MSP because it goes straight from the center. And as far as the other states are concerned, we will ensure that they too meet the required MSP, and the state government should ensure that as well.
Ma'am, what will be the impact on the food processing sector, because you handle the portfolio also? You must have assessed the impact that it will have on food processing.
Pradhan Mantri Kisan Sampada Yojana, 6,000 crores which has been given to leverage investment worth 31,000 crore of rupees, where the food processing sector has been given such a boost that in the coming days this 10% is going to increase by 3 times the amount. And this is one industry, the more it progresses, the more it benefits the farmers, because the raw material is the farmers produce. So now the vision of this government to turn the farmer from not just farming but towards value addition and towards agro-processing. This is the direction the government is going, which is what is going to double the farmers' income by 2022, and we are going to meet that
And
target.
the fiscal impact that it has?
That has all been taken into consideration, and after that these MSPs have been announced.
What we have announced, why the Prime Minister has announced that it will not less than 50%, 1.105 derguna, 1.5%. We have increased that ratio, and it is minimum, and we have gone up to 96 to 97%.
Any increase is welcome, but we must understand that an MSP announcement by the government does not necessarily translate to an increase in the market price of the product. So what the farmer will get at the agri market is what the farmer is concerned about, and not merely the announcement. While paddy, I will admit, is one of the crops that do fetch MSP in most of the states that grow paddy, for the other crops, these announcements are just figures because there is no procurement by the government. So the government has made an announcement or is going to shortly do so. It looks good on paper.
2012-13, also, the hike in paddy was about 15%. But then that was just after a kind of global crisis. So my worry is that if paddy MSP goes up by 250 rupees, then wheat MSP cannot remain behind. When the Rabi MSPs are declared, paddy MSP will also drive the wheat MSP. Inflationary pressure will come only if the market prices rise in sympathy with MSP. That has not happened in the last 2 years, as we have seen. The MSPs have been raised, but market prices have not risen. So if the market prices rise, there will be inflation, and if they do not rise, then the farmer is not really helped.
Current MSP prices are higher than the market prices. Now, if you have an increased MSP prices, they'll be much more higher than the market prices. Does the government have the funds, the infrastructure in terms of storage, buying, if the current prices are lower than MSP? At one level, it may just remain on paper, because if the government is not buying at higher prices, or if there is overall price stable in case of oil it doesn't go up, then it just remains on paper. And I wish that the government had spent more energy in terms of helping farmer improve productivity.
It's a very good step. Farmers needed this badly, and it has come at the right time. So it's a very good step, and we must appreciate that. There is going to be some impact on exports if the other countries do not increase the price of their product. They can also increase the price if they feel that India's procurement price has increased, the prices will jump. So if they can take advantage of it and they also increase the price $30-40, then we may not have impact. But otherwise, I feel there will be impact.
Whatever the MSP has increased, this will have impact on the exports of the non-basmati rice because, we will be uncompetitive by $40-50. So that we have to see, how the other part of the world, react to this. So definitely non-basmati will be hit by this. And as far as basmati is concerned, definitely, it will also strengthen the prices of basmati. But that will not have impact on the, export or, India consumption story for the two reasons. India is kind of, monopoly on the basmati rice.
To the last street where markets continue their up move after taking support at a 50-day moving average. So the Nifty closed above the 10,750 mark. Sensex jumped over 250 points. Bank Nifty saw a rally ahead of expiry tomorrow, with that index ending with gains of about 230 points, while mid-cap saw a sharp recovery in the last hour to end absolutely flat. Anuj Singhal joins in now with the details. Anuj, markets seem to be trading in a very narrow range now.
Interesting day of trade because if you look at the advanced decline, it was in favor of declines. If you look at the Nifty stocks, 25 were in green, 25 were in the red. Still, the market had almost a trend day on the upside after trapping shorts on the downside. Big stocks were moving, and that was the reason. Banks, pharma, autos, of course, did well. But it was a combination of these four stocks. HDFC Bank, Reliance, and Maruti put together accounted for 60 out of Nifty's 70-point rally. So these four stocks really were the ones which saw the big move. There were other index gainers as well, the likes of HUL, Bajaj Auto and Bajaj Finserv. Pharma did well, so Lupin, Dr. Reddy's, Sun Pharma also gaining ground. On the losing side, you had names like HP, BP and HCL Tech. Stock of the day today was Shriram Transport Finance. Did recover towards the end, a bit of a lost ground, but still down about 12%. in trade, Shriram Transport. And some more gainers today, including names like Granules, Balkrishna Industries and TVS Motor. All in all, the problem for this market has been no follow-through. Today has been a big rally. Let's see if it gets follow-through tomorrow.
Okay, so not a day for the Bulls or the Bears. Thanks, Cyrus, for joining in with that. The Aam Aadmi Party government, meanwhile, in Delhi can breathe easy. The Supreme Court today delegated the powers of the Lieutenant Governor in Delhi, asserting categorically that the LG had no independent decision-making power and hence can't be obstructed or act independently unless Constitution allows. Remember, in 2016, the Delhi High Court had ruled that the LG, as the administrative head of Delhi, was not bound by the aid and the advice of the Council of Ministers. The Kejriwal government had moved the apex court against the Delhi High Court's order. Ashmit Kumar, our legal correspondent, is here with the details. Ashmit, the court making it amply clear that the real decision-making power when it comes to Delhi lies with the elected government.
Indeed, the apex court spelling it out very clearly that as far as Delhi government is concerned, they are a group of elected representatives and hence the power should rest with them. But just for some perspective, important to point out here that as far as the power of the LG in terms of making a decision of forwarding it to the president, that is a decision.
Okay, we lost that line with Ashmit, but definitely it is a game-changing move that we have seen. And as the Aam Aadmi Party was pointing out, a big win for them, and they have been saying that this is a win for the Delhi government as a whole. We also, in fact, spoke to senior lawyer Indira Jaisingh, who represented the Delhi government in this case. We spoke to APA MLA Saurabh Bharadwaj. He says that CJI's judgment is fair and has called for a people's movement to bring a law to grant statehood to Delhi. Here's what they had to say.
It sends a very strong message that governance cannot be achieved through obstruction. Governance cannot be achieved by authoritarianism. Governance means democratic governance. You've just witnessed about 9 or 10 days of a sit-in at the LG's residence. Does that square with this judgment? It does not. Was it not the duty of this person, the Lieutenant Governor, to at least meet with them? Isn't that the essence of cooperation? They have used words like dialogue in decision-making. So yes, things will have to change.
The land, the police and the public order are under the centre's list because of the act of the parliament. So to change that, you have to change the act of the parliament. That's why we are saying you will need a people's movement in Delhi to pressurize the central government and the parliament to bring in a law to grant statehood to Delhi. I don't think central government will stoop so low now that they will start referring every matter to the president, because the Supreme Court has made it very clear, any matter is not every matter.
Okay, on that note, we will take a very short commercial break. More news and updates on the other side. Stay right there.